At the beginning of your lab sheet for skeletal lab number 1, you see 15 different words that are processes or lumps or bumps on the bone. Before you can actually start naming these processes on individual bones, you need to know what you're looking for. So let's just go through these words very quickly. The first word is foramen. Foramen is a hole in bone. This is the foramen magnum of the skull. If you notice, there are some smaller holes on the front of the skull. Those are also foramina. That's plural for foramen. The second word is fossa. Fossa is a shallow depression, a basin-like depression. This would be a fossa, and this would be a fossa on the scapula. This is actually the spine of the scapula, so this is the infraspinous fossa and the supraspinous fossa. The next word is sulcus. Sulcus is a groove or a ditch, and so this could be considered a sulcus. We also have sulci on the brain. We have sulci on the outside of the heart where blood vessels run. So sulcus is a groove. Meatus is a canal-like opening or tunnel. And so on this skull, you can see that ear canal is the external auditory or acoustic meatus. Meatus is a tunnel or a canal. You can also see a fissure on the skull. Those slit-like openings in the eye socket, those would be fissures. Head is pretty easy. We find our head on top of our neck. And so this would be the head of the femur sitting on the neck. Whereas this would be the head of the humerus sitting on a small neck. Condyle. Condyle is a knuckle-like extension of bone that's for articulation. And when you look at the end of this femur, let me turn it over to the back, you definitely see two condyles. And if you can imagine me wrapping my hands around and those being knuckle-like extensions. While we're on condyle, let me turn the bone this way. If this is the condyle, this structure sits on top of the condyle, so it would be an epicondyle. That's not on your sheet, but we'll use that word in lab number 2. Tubercle is the next word. Tubercle is a round, small mound. Right there is a round, small projection, round, small projection. Those are tubercles. This is the greater tubercle and the lesser tubercle. And so this would be the intertubercular sulcus or groove. Tuberosity. Tuberosity just sounds rough to me. There's a roughened spot on the back of this femur where the gluteus maximus attaches. So it's a roughened spot, tuberosity. Facet kind of sounds like what it is. Facet is a flat, smooth surface, like on this rib where it attaches to the vertebrae. Facet. Sinus, I really can't show you, but we do have 4 pair of paranasal sinuses, 2 found in the frontal bone, 2 in the sphenoid bone and the ethmoid bone, and 2 in the maxillary bone, and these are air-filled cavities in bones. Trochanter, you only find on the femur. A trochanter would be a large projection for muscle attachment. This would be the greater trochanter and the lesser trochanter, and if you can imagine the big thigh muscles hooking onto it, so when the leg flexes and extends, it has something to hold on to. Linnae, you can also find on this femur. Remember this roughened spot was the tuberosity? Well, if you run your finger on down, there's a small line or small little bitty crest, not a very big crest, and that's called a linnae or a line. A prominent ridge would be a crest, like on top of this hip bone. This is the iliatic crest. If you stand with your hands on your hips, this is the bone that you're resting your hand on. And finally, the last word is spine, and on this os coxo or hip bone, you can definitely see this thorn-like projection, which is a spine. Now, we usually say it's thorn-like. Remember that on the scapula, this is also a spine, but it's slender and sharp. And so now you should do that set of matching on your lab sheet, and we'll move on to labeling all the general bones of the skeleton.